Well, greetings, my friends. Welcome to the Horror Syndicate's Werewolf Weekly Show, formerly known as the Werewolf Wednesday Show. I changed it up. I should be getting a new introduction there at some point soon. Got a logo now, which I'm just going to show if I can find it. Looks like he took it off. Okay, never mind then. So I am Seth, and I am addicted to werewolves, and thus I have the show where I plan on talking about every single werewolf thing possible, every single movie. I like to cover books, whatever. And 2 weeks ago, I did a show where I talked about the three novels in the trilogy, the trilogy written by Gary Brandner. And tonight I'm going to begin my journey through all of the films in this franchise. Uh, I'm because I talked about in that episode 2 weeks ago, I talked about a lot of the differences between the first book and the movie. I'm gonna keep any reference to the book to the minimum. I'm going to be talking about this movie uh, for what it is on its own merits. There will be a couple points where I may bring up one or two things in regards to the book, but I'm going to keep this solely focused on the movie. Uh, and I'm going to give all my thoughts on the movie, my thoughts on the werewolf design, the werewolf action, and then once I'm done giving my entire opinion on uh, this film, then I will get to the comments. So if anyone's going to leave any comments, just be patient. I will get to them and read them all and address them all um, uh, after I'm done with the topic at hand. Um, all right, so The Howling from 1981, loosely based on the novel by Gary Brandner, from a screenplay by John Sayles and Terrence Winkless. It's directed by Joe Dante. It stars Dee Wallace, Christopher Stone, Elizabeth Brooks, Dennis Dugan, Belinda Belaski, and Robert Picardo. Um, so the film begins with um, a television reporter named Karen White, played by Dee Wallace, who is kind of brave enough to meet up with a suspected serial killer who leaves his calling card all over the place with like smile faces. And meanwhile, she's doing this in conjunction with the police. Um, he leads her to this uh, porn shop or whatever, and she goes in. And while she's in there, she is forced to watch a snuff film with the man who is revealed to be Eddie Quist later on in the film, played by Robert Picardo, is behind her, and the police do show up and shoot him. But the incident in and of itself has traumatized Karen, and to the point where she doesn't fully remember everything that happened during that event. She sees only fragments of it, and it deeply troubles her. So her doctor, Dr. George Wagner, named after the director of the 1941 Wolfman film, uh, tells her he has the perfect place for her to go so she can work on recovering. He has this retreat called the Colony. And so Karen and her husband, Bill, played by Christopher Stone, uh, head to the colony. And while there, they meet a bunch of other people. Most of them seem friendly. Some seem a little strange. And then there's Marcia, uh, who's not very friendly. I'll just say that. And so as they're there, uh, Karen has trouble sleeping because of the howling that she hears outside, and um, and she's very much struggling with the trauma that she had. Meanwhile, her husband Bill gets seduced by Marcia, played by Elizabeth Brooks, and he eventually becomes a werewolf. Her friends, played by uh, Dennis Dugan and Belinda Belaski, uh, they eventually discover that Eddie Quist is actually from this place called the Colony. Uh, well, they find out separately because yeah, they find out separately, and basically everyone is a werewolf in this place, and Eddie comes back. He kills her friend Terry, um, and meanwhile, uh, Chris, uh, her friend Chris, played by Dennis Dugan, gets some silver bullets and heads up to try to save her. And the film ends with basically all the werewolves getting trapped in a barn, set on fire. Um, Chris and Karen attempt to escape, and in the process, Karen is um, scratched and turned into a werewolf by presumably her husband. And so she decides that she's gonna show the world that werewolves are real. So she transforms on live TV. Um, so that's basically just the overview of the movie. Um, so this is going to be one point where I talk about where I bring up the book. Again, I'm gonna try not to do it too often. Um, so I feel like well, first I'll give my opinion on the movie. So, to some people, this is the best werewolf movie. For me, it's my second favorite werewolf movie, and I think it's just an excellent film. I saw this like many times long before I even got a chance to read the novels. So I had a deep love for it already, and I don't really mind so much some of the differences they made. I would have preferred if they kept it as Drago instead of the Colony. Um, I, I I don't know about the idea of making Marcia a Quist. I felt like that could have just been a separate character. Um, I think it's got a lot of the same beats from the book, but there's definitely a lot of differences. Um, but I really dig this movie. I like the I've always liked Joe Dante as a director. Uh, uh, I think this movie is just a terrific werewolf film. I think it's got that atmosphere to it. I particularly like the setting of the colony. It's very woodsy, and the werewolves are awesome in this. I got pictures that I have not pulled up yet. um, yeah, so the werewolves, the werewolf design is this is I think this is yeah this is my favorite werewolf design on film. I know a lot of people may disagree, but I think it's just an excellent design. I think it's very kind of uh, they're kind of terrifying looking. I prefer these big bipedal um, uh, monstrous werewolves, and even though American Werewolf in London is my favorite werewolf film, The Howling has my favorite werewolf design. I think the werewolf action in this film is uh, is pretty damn good as well. This scene in particular, right here, where Uh, um, Jesus Christ, blanking on the name again. Eddie comes back. Just really great scenes, like not only um, when Terry is attacked, but also when Karen is confronted by Eddie in this doctor's office and he transforms. I think the transformation looks good, although I would say it's not quite as good as the transformation in American Werewolf in London. But I don't want to take anything away from Rob Bottin here because um, the the effects in this are awesome. So this has not only great werewolf design, but also great werewolf effects and a really good transformation. So I think everything on the werewolf side of this film is just perfect. Um, I think the acting is good all around. Uh, Dee Wallace is a gem of an actress, in my opinion, and I really liked Christopher Stone. I felt like this is what I was going to mention earlier. Like the one area where I understand why they made this change, but the one area where I think the book does this better is the situation that causes this rift between in the movie Karen and Bill, in the book Karen and Roy. And in the book, it's because she was basically raped and and because of that situation, she also lost a child. And and so I felt like it made a lot of sense why there was such a fracture in the relationship of those two characters in the book. Whereas here, I get where they didn't want to do the the book beginning, and so they instead had it be where she's a reporter and she's forced to uh, look at a snuff film, um, and while he's being kind of creepy behind her. I feel like the trauma that this version of the character is going through, um, to me, doesn't really make as much sense as the book version. Um, and I do understand where they did make it uncomfortable for being in a porn shop and being forced to watch a snuff film. But I felt like the book explanation for the split um, was a bit better, and I feel like if they were going to change it to the way that they did, that I think that maybe they could have really leaned into the more seduction side of werewolves with the Marsha and uh, Bill thing. Um, so one of the things I mentioned a couple weeks ago when I talked about the books was um, not only do you understand the fracture in their relationship, but I also like the fact that in the first two books, which are the ones that deal with these characters, um, it is pretty clear uh, that Roy actually does care about Karen. Roy's the Bill character from the book. He actually does care about Karen and vice versa. And I think they, like movie wise, they could have leaned into that, that tragedy of, well, he's not completely in the clear for his actions, but um, it was also a thing where it was just kind of like Marsha's, sexual, attraction and being a werewolf, that that he was sort of not acting completely on his willpower. I felt like they could have done that, but regardless, I don't want to like criticize the movie too much. The, my only other complaint about the movie would be the sex scene in the woods, it looks weird at the end when they are fully wolves. Um, and yeah, but other than that, I gotta say this is my second favorite werewolf film of all time. I love the score. I can't remember the name of the composer. I'm usually really good with that, but as anyone who's been watching this knows tonight, that I'm having some brain farts here and there. I blame old age. I blame old age. Um, I even forgot to My plan was to put up pictures like as I'm talking about, like giving my overview of what happens in the movie, and I just completely forgot to do that. So yeah, old age, yay. Um, oh, this I want to show off too. I love this. I love this cover art. This is from Nathan Thomas Milliner, um, who is a member of the Horror Syndicate team. Um, Great artist, and he did a really kick-ass cover for Scream Factory some years back. Really awesome. I just wanted to kind of show that off tonight and give a little shout out to Nate. Um, so yeah, like overall, I still love this movie, even though now that I've been so familiar with the books, the change doesn't quite bother me. And to be fair, we do get a little bit more of a faithful adaptation of the first book uh, uh, with the fourth movie. So, I do get a movie a little bit later on in the series that is closer to the original novel. So, I have that for like uh, when I reread the book, which I do often. Um, uh, right after I finish it, I come home and I'm like, I want to watch the Howling 4. So, but to be fair, I think Joe Dante made choices that were probably best for the movie, um, best for the pacing, because the first book is it is kind of slowly paced, and it has like this presumed mystery that there's only one werewolf. Um, and anyone who's familiar with this story in general knows that's not the case. So, but yeah, I think this movie was just very well done, very well casted, great effects, great werewolf design, some good werewolf action, um, really solid score, um, and yeah, and also excellent performance. I don't know if I mentioned this, excellent performance from Robert Picardo, in addition to Dee Walls and Christopher Stone and everyone else in this movie. I think it's really good. Um, I know some people consider it to be the best. It's right behind American Werewolf in London for me, but yeah, I love The Howling, and so there are my thoughts. Those are my scatterbrain thoughts on The Howling. Um, and so I shall get to comments now. See what you guys have to say. So Sean Sheridan Rankins, uh, always the first person to comment on our videos, except for last night, you sneaky son of a bitch. Um, he says, first off, since I missed your vampire episode last night, okay, best non-Dracula movie I've seen is Near Dark. Yeah, I gotta rewatch Near Dark. I have it on DVD, but it's been a while since I've seen it, so uh, I'll definitely take your word on that. And also, the hell was it? I was gonna tell you this, and I kept forgetting. I watched your review for the new Wolfman, um, and thanks for the shout out, man. Appreciate it. As for the Howling, good movie. Yeah, definitely. Was this your first time seeing it, Sean? Howling 2 and 3, I watched 2, had some charm with Christopher Lee, and 3, as much as I have disagreed with Ray's opinion over the years, he is correct. The movie is terrible. I know, and that's what's going to make it even more glorious in 2 weeks from now, presumably, when he, because he lost the bet, uh, he is going to join me for a discussion on Howling 3, The Marsupials, and he's got to rewatch it, and it's going to be glorious. Um, it's going to be glorious. So we get to torture Ray, so there's that. Uh, I will watch the rest, not for a few weeks. I need a break from werewolf movies. No, you don't. You need to just keep going. Just push through. Eddie Quist. Yeah. The problem I was having a little bit earlier is trying to remember the name changes. So, like, like being familiar, very familiar with the books and very familiar with the movies. Sometimes I get mixed up of what was from what as far as character names, because like in the book it's Max Quist, not even a werewolf, just a douchebag. Howling 5 wasn't too bad. It had hot nude women. How Here's a spoiler alert for a few weeks from now. Howling 5 is my favorite sequel in this franchise. I love Howling 5. We all, yeah, sure do. Seth still thinks he's Superman. Um, no, I, I'm actually Superman's short, fat cousin. Um, I crash landed in Vermont, and instead of saving people, I just sit in my dad chair and drink beer and watch movies and talk about werewolves. So not quite Superman, more like ho hum man, you know, lazy man, douche man. I agree. Is my second fave too. What's your first favorite? Is it American Wolf in London or is it the Wolfman? I feel like you may have mentioned it once before, but I don't remember. Seth is right. Of course, I'm right. Best design for sure. Hello, all. Hello, how's it going? Got to read the books. Yes, you do. The books are really good. And again, like books 2 and 3 have never been adapted. So even if you're familiar with like the entire franchise, uh, you don't have to worry because literally nothing from the second and third books really even happens in the movies at all. So, and the second and third books, I feel, are superior to the first. Ah, yes, that is the name of the composer. I like this. I like the score for the Howling. I would rather focus the kind of werewolf serial killer thing at the start, but I do like the cult vibe going on there in the third act. I like this movie. Yeah, I can agree with that. So, Sean, have you seen this before, or was this your first time watching? Let me know. More than I can say for the other two I saw. Yeah, the quality goes downhill immediately after this, but it's still like still a franchise I enjoy to watch, and I'm glad that I'm dragging you into it, buddy. Nice. I'm surprised it never got a remake. Yeah, well, I mean, some people can kind of say that 4 was technically a remake, but with bad quality. Um, but uh, yeah, I'm surprised there hasn't been anything happening with this franchise. I know a few years back, like 2018, 2019, something, it was announced that uh, what's his name? Andy Muschietti, who directed it, Chapter One and Chapter Two, and that terrible Flash movie. Uh, he was going to be doing a reboot of The Howling for Netflix, and haven't heard anything since. What they need to do is just give me a call. You know what I mean? Just, or send me an email. Hey, Seth, we want you to take over the Howling franchise. Come in and make it work. I'll be there. I know how to write scripts. By the way, I'm only joking. No one who owns the rights to the Howling is watching this. Excellent performance by Dick Miller. Yeah, he's like one of those people that you love to see just pop up in everything. Um, of course, I knew him, growing up from like the Gremlins, but I also like I love his scene in the first Terminator. I don't know. There's something about him. He's like a very likable guy. It's a top 3 for werewolf films, top 5 horror movie. My favorite is Silver Bullet. I reread Psycho this time of the year every year. Great novella. Yes, absolutely great novella. And yeah, top 5. It's a shame about Ray. What about him? Silver Bullet was okay, not bad. I mean, I love Silver Bullet, but like that was one that I grew up with. It was like, yeah, it's a childhood favorite of mine, and I think it's fun. I feel like if they like, there's potential to do a new version of it. They can go back to Cycle of the Werewolf and figure out a different structure. You're welcome. Although I took down that video because I revamped my channel. I'm only doing rankings now since I'm watching the Howling franchise. I'm going to rank the franchise, so I'll give. Oh, another shout out. Yeah, I mean, just by the way, just so I'm clear, you don't have to like give me a shout out. You know what I mean? I'm not looking for that. I do enjoy watching your stuff from time to time. But I just wanted to let you know that I saw your video, and because I was generally interested in your opinions on Wolfman 2025. Because you and I, we have a little bit of a difference opinion with the fact that you really enjoyed that movie, and I'm kind of like indifferent to it. And then when I heard you give us a shout out, I was like, oh, that's cool, that's awesome. But yeah, don't ever feel like obligated to give us a shout out if you don't want to. Uh, you're here for us. We're there for you. That's my motto, buddy. First fave, of course, American Werewolf in London. Excellent choice. That is mine too. That is my favorite horror film of all time. I don't think I'll be nice, I'll be honest, but we'll see. Matt says, hey there, Sean Sheridan. Fresh out of prison. It's not a popular number 1, but I got a soft spot. Yeah. Seen it before. No, I've seen The Howling a few times. I've never seen the rest until recently. Oh, okay, I got you. That makes sense. That's what I was kind of wondering about. One of the first horror films I had seen, actually. Well, that's awesome. That's, what was that, Silver Bullet? I'm just scrolling up. Okay, yep, Silver Bullet. It's actually one of the first ones I've seen too, like between Silver Bullet and the original Wolfman. Um, those were films I saw, really young, back when I had to walk to school uh, barefoot up hills both ways or whatever. Hey, Steph. I'll take that as a typo. How you doing today, my friend? I've been waiting to ask you for this for some time. Who will win in a fight between the werewolf from the Howling and the werewolf from American Werewolf in London? Um, I, I'll go with the Howling. Uh, with I just feel like the the bipedal werewolves uh, would be probably a little bit more agile than the quadrupedal. So I'm gonna go with the Howling for that fight. Who owns the rights to the Howling? There were plans for a remake, but it seems to be trapped in limbo. Yeah, I know. I wish I knew who owned the rights to it. Um, Not like I'd ever have a chance, because they'd probably find someone who actually works in the business. But I wish something they would do something with it, and they would kind of do something of quality. Seth, the Hound producers will contact you and ask you if you could take over duties for the catering table. Probably. It's like, you think you can do this better than us? Go clean the toilets. Then we'll talk. Hee hee hee. Pink ghost face mask with sparkles and Scream 7. I want to give you a piece of my mind. That's a good line. I would love that. The werewolf in Ginger Snaps, though, that attached. It's a male. What are the chances he looks like an older werewolf because of the gray fur? Very possible. Very possible. They never really kind of dived into who that werewolf was that got smashed by the truck, huh? Shame about me. Why the fuck? What is this XP shit? I talked about the Wolfman again for movies that don't fit a rank, and I rank a bunch of random movies in a video called Movie Mania. So my thoughts are in on one of those. Okay, I'll have to check those out, buddy. YouTube is doing new thing for chats with the XP. I don't even know what an XP is, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know. Like, what is that? Like, because I don't see anything here. Now I'm going to be one of those dicks that pulls out my phone while doing a live stream. Yes, I am a dick. Come on, you fuck. I have no idea what the XP thing is. It's weird. But what is like? What's the purpose of it? What's the function of it? Does it do anything actually cool? uh, which werewolves do you think the strongest? The Wolfman from 1941, 2010, American Werewolf in London, Ginger Snaps, the strongest. It's probably a tie between the 2010 Wolfman and Bad Moon, because the 2010 Wolfman is a pretty brutal and savage take on 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 that particular character, um, and like he does some gnarly stuff in that. But I also think the one in Bad Moon is pretty badass too. Maybe it's just because of appearance. I mean, he did kind of get beaten by a dog, so there's that. Is trapped in limbo just like Jack Goodman. Yeah. Who would win in a fight? Shaggy with a brush up his ass, or Ghostface as a werewolf with pink underwear? Um, Probably gonna go with Shaggy. I'm gonna go with Shaggy there. I like to see your werewolf idea come to fruition with an original story. I bet you have a good one with all the influences. I do. I do. I have put a lot of thought into it when I should have just been like working on my own stuff. Um, it's the fanboy in me. Because it's like stuff that I could probably easily just make my own, but I'm like, I want to do it for the Howling. I don't know why I'm like that. What was your picks for best non-Dracula movies? Uh, Fright Night, The Lost Boys, George A. Romero's Martin, um, Salem's Lot, From Dusk Till Dawn, 30 Days of Night, Subspecies 2, um, Daybreakers. Trying to think. You have to go watch the video. You have to just go watch it. We started off that video like basically with all my picks. So like the first, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, uh, we go through all my picks, and then after that, Ray goes through all of his picks, whatever. So check out the video, man. And I do have to rewatch Near Dark, definitely. Remember how I said this to you months ago? If they wanted to do another Larry Talbot Wolfman movie, they had to get Lon Chaney's family's permission to do the 2010. They got his family's permission. Okay, cool. I remember you saying that, and I wasn't sure if they needed his permission, but if you say that's the case, man, go watch the show, Sean. The entire episode is up now. Yeah, Sean, god damn it. But don't go watch it now. Wait until after we're done here. Actually, you probably can go watch it now because I've talked about the Howling already. If they do another Larry Talbot Wolfman movie, what are the chances of what happened again? They do the original movie instead of. Well, I mean, I would hope that they would find a like a, a, a way that's faithful while also being allowed to be its own thing. My favorite Dracula is probably the Gary Oldman one. Got to love Keanu's British accent. Okay, I'll watch in the near future. Yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula is excellent. I do love that movie. Like, and yeah, Keanu is so out of place in that movie, but it doesn't like stop me from really enjoying it because one, it's got like an amazing score all throughout and just excellent performances all around from everyone else. Um, it's it's a little different from the book, but it's also pretty damn faithful. It just kind of ups the sexual nature. I got 25 experience points. Still waiting on why it's a shame for me. Where is that fucking dude? Was that Matt Torrance? I don't know. Maybe it's because I made a reference to how I'm gonna be torturing you in like 2 weeks uh, with Howling 3, the marsupials, because you lost a bet. Maybe that's what he was talking about. I have no idea. I hate questions like that. Who'd win in a fight? Who's the strongest? Use your imagination. Yeah, I don't think about those type of questions very much. Shut up, dog. Just kidding. I love it. They have all kinds of weird shit on here now. I'll send it your way just in case it helps. If I can just figure out how. Yeah. Well, my dog's showing me most attention. Mind you, I did not grow up on the old Hammer movies. I've only seen the old 1930s Dracula once, and I've seen one Christopher Lee one, I think. You should definitely watch like some of the Christopher Lee ones, particularly the first two, The Horror of Dracula and Dracula Prince of Darkness. Um, they're really good. Some of the other sequels are really good too. I like them all. Um, I think Ray and I are going to be covering Hammer in October. So you're saying that the 1941 Wolfman is on a. Well, I mean, it's possible, but with the restrictions on filmmakers during the time of the Hays Code, where they couldn't show violence, um, the violence was very minimal. What we saw of the Wolfman was very minimal. So, I mean, it's possible, I guess, but based on what we saw in the movie, due to the strong restrictions for what they could and could not show for violence, that's why I kind of feel that way. That's why I really like the 2010 Wolfman, because they didn't have that restriction and he was savage. The 1941 film does make acknowledgments to the victims being savagely attacked, mentioning that their throats were completely ripped out. It's just we don't see it. But um, I don't know. I mean, it's just my opinion, man. What about the Abel Ferrara vampire movie? I'm not familiar. The Addiction. Never seen it. Difference of opinion by the looks of it. I like Wolfman and the rest of the world hates it. Is it a fact that he is not a full blown werewolf that knows? No, it's not that at all. Um, it's a couple things. It's one, I would have respected the movie more had it not been called The Wolfman. If they called it, say, Face of the Wolf, right? Because the opening of that film makes a point to let you know the context of the way werewolves exist within the world, with there being some sort of like disease called Face of the Wolf. So if the film was called Face of the Wolf and it was its own thing, I would have. I think I would have looked at it in a different light. I would have, because it's its own original thing. It doesn't have to adhere to anything. And with me being a fan of the original story and the 2010 remake, um, I was let down by um, the fact that I had uh, a lack of anything in common, really, with the story of Wolfman. It, it was clearly just its own original thing, and they just took the title. You know what I mean? Um, and I just don't like the design of the Wolfmen in it. They look weird. At one point, I was kind of like chuckling to myself in the theater because I was like, "Oh, he looks like Tom Cruise's character, Les Grossman from Tropic Thunder." Um, so yeah, I didn't care for that, and I thought that well, there's definitely cool stuff in the movie for sure. Like I loved seeing the perspective switch, where we see from his perspective and how he can't understand what his wife is saying or what his daughter's saying, and all that. That was really cool. Um, but I think it's also a movie where I know there's something about the characters that um, I wasn't quite invested with them. I felt like the story was kind of thin. Um, and I guess that's the chance you take with setting it all in one night. Um, so I felt indifferent to it. Like it's not a movie I hate by any means, and it's definitely not the worst werewolf movie I've seen this year. But yeah, it's just not for me. I will. I've said this before. I am going to give it another chance, but I'm in like no rush to do it. Near Dark. Yeah, see, I gotta really rewatch that, man. It's been forever. What do you mean, Seth? You're surprised they had to get the family's permission to do another Wolfman movie, or well, yeah, well, because the Wolfman's owned by Universal Pictures, um, so to do a remake. I mean, you're as long as you're not trying to take the actor's likeness, anyone could. I don't know. It just seems weird to me, but it's a thing I don't really care about either. So uh, don't forget Dracula Dead and Loving It. Yeah, I used to think that movie was funny, and then I grew up. It's not so funny anymore. The Wolfman is not winning the Oscars, but if you're honest with yourself, it's a better movie than a lot of werewolf. Oh, for sure. It's definitely better than the majority of uh, werewolf films released this year alone. And there's probably like 80 others that are worse than than the Wolfman 2025. Um, for sure, it's like it's not about really the quality of it. I think it's a well-made film. You know what I mean? It's a Shame About Ray is an album title by the Lemonheads. Did not know that. Never even heard of them. Have you watched Dexter? I've seen the first 3 seasons. I really enjoyed it. I gotta finish it. Um, yeah, I started them like a long time ago. How about George Hamilton as Dracula? Uh, don't forget Blackula. Hey, this is the werewolf show, goddammit. Leave the vampires. Vampires can go fuck off tonight. The Howling 3 is just very confusing. The baby is what the fuck, and the Outback setting had potential, but they don't pull it off at all. I agree. I'm going to save my thoughts on that movie for when I cover it with my special guest, Ray, who is doing it because he lost a bet. So that's going to be a lot of fun. To prepare me, which Howling movie is the worst? I hear 5 is a decent one. Yep, 5 is my favorite sequel in the Howling franchise. Um, the worst film in the franchise is easily the 7th film. It's called The Howling New Moon Rising, but I jokingly always refer to it as The Howling New Moon Line Dancing. And once you see the movie, you will know why. It's a terrible movie. Some might even say it's unwatchable. You may not even finish it. I give it credit. for attempting to connect all the dots for all the previous films, but it's just such a terrible movie. It's kind of like one of those movies that's like kind of fun to laugh at. And the Howling 7 is bad. The eighth film is also not good. A step up in quality, but it's like the Twilight version of the Howling, so that's not very fun. Um, yeah, but you know, it, as far as this series goes, three's weird. Four is really bad in terms of quality and acting, but it's one I'm lenient on because it is a little bit more faithful to the novel than the original. So I'm leaning on that. But five is one I very much enjoy. It's decent. It's decent. Ages ago, I was watching something about American Werewolf in London and had Bad Moon and the Wolf Man. There are similarities. Someone said the wolf. Uh, yeah, it's possible. Hello. Hello, how's it going? Thank you for joining. Um, I like Dog Soldiers a lot. Yeah, Dog Soldiers is badass. Bad Moon, man, it was okay. I love Bad Moon. What did you like about it? Dog Soldiers is awesome. Yes, it is. Absolutely one of my favorites. I was watching this very funny video of the two boys from American Wolf of London in the 1940. Uh, I guess that does prove it. That's fair. It doesn't really have anything to do with the original Wolfman, even the Invisible Man. That had some similarities to it. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, to a certain extent. Um, it's like both of those movies. It's weird because I do like the Invisible Man from 2021 or whatever, but I feel like I feel like Lee Winnall could have just made that movie anyway and just called it, The Invisible Stalker or something like that, and it would have been his own original thing, and then it wouldn't have had that, association with the H.G. Wells novel or the James Whale film, and same with the Wolfman. Could have been its own thing. Could have been its own IP. It just those films they take the titles and that's it. And it was just like the Wrong Turn reboot. Excellent movie, shit on by a lot of people because it was different. It was not really a Wrong Turn movie, but they just took the name, and it should have been called The Foundation. Child's Play 2019, I think, is actually a decent movie, and it would have been. I think I would probably consider better than I do now had it been its own original thing. Um, so like this whole idea of um, taking familiar IPs uh, and just taking the titles and doing movies that are actually good, but you're doing a disservice to yourself by attaching it to the IPs instead of releasing it as your own original property. Remember in Abbott and Costello, meet Frankenstein when Wolfman grabbed the Dracula bat and leapt out the window into That's such a goofy moment. It's funny though. It's funny. The dog wants some sausages. Sausages. Yeah. The Wolfman 2010 is on the list. I know it got terrible reviews when it came out. Yeah, and I don't really understand why. Well, I mean, to a certain extent, I do because the theatrical cut, it's a little choppy, particularly in the beginning, um, and I think it took out some, in my opinion, important, although unnecessary scenes, and you know, they're important because they give context to the relationship between Lawrence and his father. Um, but if you do if you do watch The Wolfman 2010, um, go for the unrated director's cut. It's a much better version of the film. I think it's solid as hell. There's some bad CGI in there, but the bad CGI does not, in my opinion, um, the bad CGI does not overshadow Rick Baker's excellent makeup effects. I love Near Dark. Yeah, see, I gotta rewatch it. Your dog looks very adorable. What breed is your dog? Australian kettle mix, and he is wild. Got a lot of energy. That dog is part Dalmatian and part. I love all the old Universal films. Yeah, me too. I got a huge soft spot for them. And they're super easy to watch too, because like especially the very early ones are only like an hour long. Who is your favorite Wolfman? Uh, Definitely Lon Chaney Jr. Lon Chaney Jr.'s Lawrence Talbot. Uh, he's got the upper hand by being that character multiple times in the old Universal films. With the Wolfman, with Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, with um, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, Abbott and Costello. Like he's played. Oh, sorry, he's played that character so many times, and yeah, he's the best Wolfman. Next time Ray loses a bet, make him use the ATM while naked. No, I don't think so. Uh, Napoleon Dynamite said it's pretty much the worst movie ever made. Yeah, pretty much. Uh, Bad Moon was great. Absolutely. I love it. I love the idea of the dog being the hero. I love the idea of the dog and the werewolf basically having a pissing contest with each other throughout the film. I love the look of the werewolf. Um, I love Bad Moon all around. It's getting late, guys. Let's get into our jammies. You go for it, buddy. Let's see here. Okay. Watched Wolf Hollow, Alpha Wolf, and Werewolf Castle the other night. In short, I thought the Werewolves in Werewolf Castle looked great, but came off weak. Um, Wolf Hollow tried too hard to be funny, but wasn't. That's exactly what I thought too. There's things I like about Wolf Hollow, but it was trying really hard to be funny when it wasn't. Uh, there's some fun moments, of course. There's the guy that seemingly can't die, and then with Werewolf Castle, yeah. So like Werewolf Castle, the look of the werewolves was really great, but the werewolves, the werewolf action wasn't so great because all the plot armor they gave some of the characters, particularly the main character. When you have your werewolves on top of this person slashing away and you're not making contact, it's like, why even write that scene in there if you're not going to hurt your character? Uh, so it did a disservice to it. You didn't mention your thoughts on Alpha Wolf there. I wonder what you thought about that. But awesome that you are checking out some of these movies. Um, hope you keep going. I hope those 3 suggestions didn't make you say, well, fuck that guy. uh, I can watch any movie. I'm sure the Howling 7 will be fine. I've watched The Room. That prepares you for anything, no matter how bad the quality. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on Howling 7, New Moonlight Dancing. Have you heard of this creature called Werefox? They're just women, not woman can be a werefox. Oh, never heard of it, buddy. Alpha Wolf, on the other hand, I enjoyed. They made the werewolf look weak in a couple of scenes, but overall enjoyed it. Yeah, I like Alpha Wolf. Wolfman Jack says, "If I'm lying, I'm dying." You know, there are other animals like out there, like were orca, were shark, were panther, that's were lion, were tiger, were crocodile. Yeah, rougarous. Basically, they're like similar to werewolves, where it's like uh, people who can take shape of other types of animals. Um, they're cool. They're cool. Same for me. Under the full moon, I transform into a were. What is that? Capybara? Fucking guy. I like Bad Moon and Curse. Yeah, I love Bad Moon. Curse is good. Um, I wish it. I don't know. I wish they went with the original script. Much better. Howling is still the best werewolf movie ever made. American Wolf is a solid second. It's. It, I mean, that's like I'm the opposite of you on that, but that's yeah. Those two are the two that are often considered the best. You know, I do sometimes hear or see people say, you know, Dog Soldiers or The Wolfman or uh, something else, but uh, typically speaking, uh, the Werewolf, American Werewolf in London, and The Howling are considered the two greatest. I favor American Werewolf in London because it's my favorite horror film of all time, you know. But I also really love The Howling, and I actually like the werewolves in The Howling better than the werewolf in American Werewolf in London because I prefer bipedal in comparison to the quadrupedal. Um, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with your order, buddy. I had to put Alpha Wolf in another comment because YouTube only lets comments be so long. Oh, I got you. I got you. I'm like a little behind on comments, so like I'm not seeing like all the new ones because I went through all my thoughts on the Howling first, and then I jumped to comments. So like any new comment, I haven't seen it yet. Trying to get through them. Trying to get through them. Underrated Wolfman movie is Wolf with Jack Nicholson. Really good. That is a very good movie. Very uh, drama and character heavy. It's a film that I've seen a lot, and yeah, I enjoy it. I did a show on it. I had a little issue where Ray went to jump on, and then he accidentally ended the stream, and so then I had to create another one. So there's actually two. If you go to like look on our YouTube, um, there's you'll see two things for Wolf. Go with the longer one if you want to watch my thoughts on that. But yeah, I enjoy that one too. So I want to be like transform into Were Orca Were Tracks. Go for it, man. Go figure out a way to do it. American Werewolf in Paris thoughts. Um, I know a lot of people strongly dislike American Werewolf in Paris. It's a guilty pleasure. It's I think it's fun. Takes all the wrong lessons from the first film, as it's more focused on the comedy instead of the horror. The CGI werewolves look terrible, but at the same time, the slapstick humor in it uh, does entertain me, and so completely inferior to the original film in every single way possible. But it's also a film that I can just put on and watch because I think it's to me, American Wolf in Paris is just total stupid popcorn movie. Now, a word from our sponsor, Joe Yogurt. Watched Late Phases on your recommendations recently. Awesome, great werewolf design. That first scene with the old lady was so well done. Yeah, I love Late Phases. It's my 5th favorite werewolf film of all time. Can't get enough of that movie. I love the character. I love the story. Uh, the werewolves. So the werewolves do look a little weird, I think, like in the face, but just overall, I love Late Phases. But glad that you took my recommendation, you watched it, and that you really liked it. So happy to hear that, man. Silver Bullet is my favorite. People talk about the werewolf look like a bear. The funny thing is, the suit was actually made of bear fur. Yeah, yeah. Silver Bullet. Actually, did a show on that like maybe a month ago. No, yeah, July. July, I did a show on it, and I had Nathan Thomas Milner, uh, who is a member of the Horror Syndicate team, and he also did the Scream Factory cover art for the Howling. He joined me for it. Yeah, Silver Bullet is like a film that I grew up on, and I love it. The werewolf, it does look like a bear, but the design doesn't bother me so much, and maybe it's just because this movie I've always loved, and I've never, like I wasn't like when I was a kid, I wasn't critical of that type of stuff. So it's like it's grandfathered in. It gets a free pass for the look of the werewolf. Uh, I like it. I need to look for a Blu-ray. Nice. Need to find that movie. Yes. I love the American Wolf in Paris as a sequel. No, but as its own movie, it is excellent. So fun, Seth. Yes, absolutely. That's my exact thoughts, right? Like so, as a sequel or as a film associated with American Werewolf in London, it's like not so great. But on its own, for what it is, it's fun. It's a quickly paced movie. The slapstick humor is actually kind of funny at moments. So yeah. Hold on a second here. Oh, a movie that looks fun is Wolf Cop. Yeah, Wolf Cop is fun. Uh, I liked both Wolf Cop films, but the second one is, not as good as the first one whatsoever. The first one's a lot of fun. I did a show on that. I did a show actually on both of those. If you check out our YouTube uh, channel, if you look for the Werewolf, either Werewolf Weekly or Werewolf Wednesday, I'm changing the show title. Um, but yeah, I like Wolf Cop quite a bit, and I had fun rewatching it uh, for the show. Let's see here. Alrighty, a couple more comments, and then I'm gonna bounce for the night. Make sure to mention we hit 80K followers and how thankful we are, and they should all sub to YouTube. Yes, okay, I will. So recently, the Horror Syndicate has hit 80,000 followers on Facebook, and it's it's awesome. We continue to grow, uh, and we thank you, anyone who's watching this, either currently or in the future. We thank you for for following us on Facebook, participating in all the brackets or the random posts, and definitely, if you're watching this on Facebook, give us a thumbs up, or the laugh emoji, or the heart emoji, or the angry face emoji, or the crying emoji. Uh, whatever one you decide to choose, and then leave a comment about what you think about the first Howling film, and also let me know if you have read the books from Gary Brandner. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not subscribed, maybe possibly consider subscribing. If not for us, do it for your country. Um, I stole that from True Lies. Um, and yeah, subscribe, leave a comment. Same thing. What do you think of the Howling film? And have you read any of the Howling books from Gary Brandner? I love Nate. Wish he could come on more. His directing experience makes him a great contributor to THS. All you guys are awesome. Thank you. Really appreciate that. And yeah, it's been actually a while since I talked to Nate too. So um, he's a very busy guy. Very busy guy. But hopefully, he'll come back. Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah, it's really awesome. I voted on the polls Ray makes on Facebook. Funnest page ever. Thank you. Very much appreciate that. Um, it's a lot of fun doing this stuff. You know. So yeah, subscribe. God damn it. All right. So I've been on for over an hour. Just real quick, go back over my thoughts. The Howling, I think, is a very well-made movie. Um, it's got a good score, great werewolf design, excellent effects, and it's my second favorite werewolf film of all time. So um, I really enjoy it. And next week, I will be talking about The Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. And then after that, the week after that, I'll be talking about Howling 3, The Marsupials, with special guest Ray, because he lost the bet, and it's going to be awesome to make him rewatch the movie and then come on and talk about it. It's going to be awesome, I'm telling you. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you to everyone who watched and participated tonight. There was a lot of comments flowing from you guys. Sean Sheridan, as always. Um, Matt Torrance with his jokes. uh, Itchy. Not sure if that's male or female or whatever. So I don't want to say he or she. But thank you. Um, there's other people. I'm missing other people here. Hold on. So I make sure that everyone gets a shout out. Scott Walker, Trekopedia, uh, Ray, Terry Scott. Um, Bear with me here. I'm just kind of skimming back through all the comments. Make sure everyone gets a shout out. Kathy. Um, there's a lot of comments here, guys. Black Rain and Purple Lightning. Uh, Tom Hutchison. Um, A Man Called Plush. Jorhan. Wish I knew how to pronounce your name, buddy. Um, so now that I've caught that, there's a couple comments. So good night, all. Good night. Thank you for joining. Good night, Seth. Thank you. Woo. Thank you. Very much appreciated. I hope to catch the next one. Yes, I hope you do too. Howling too, buddy. Um, it doesn't help that I'm like so inconsistent, with doing these shows lately. Uh, Sometimes I do them on Wednesday, sometimes I do them on Thursday, sometimes I just, like last week, I intended to do this show last week, but then it was Wednesday, and I was just having like one of those days where I was just like, I don't really want to do that. I just want to sit down and watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'll just do the Howling show tomorrow. And then Thursday came along, and I had completely forgotten that I had made plans with my buddy Josh to go see The Long Walk, so I couldn't do a show that night. But yeah, I'm hoping I will be more consistent. Thanks, dude. Appreciate your thoughts. I'm a dude. All right. Thanks, dude. uh, you can call me Rain if you like. All right. Thank you, Rain. So yeah, thank you everyone who tuned in, who commented, who uh, watched my watched me ramble incoherently, especially as I was talking about the movie. And thanks, yeah, thanks for participating. See you next week for Howling 2, Your Sister's a Werewolf, aka Howling 2, Sturba, Werewolf Bitch. Beware the moon.